A traveler is 40 times more likely to die in a crash involving a train than in a crash with another car. In Baton Rouge, Louisiana, news reporter Jeff Jackson decides to do a story on this very topic. While shooting his story, he takes a ride on a train. What happens next drives home his point about the dangers of railroad crossings in a way he never could have imagined.
What we wanted to accomplish was to bring some awareness to the public of the percentage and the rates of car and train collisions in Louisiana. And for me, it was shocking because you see this all the time on videos and other stories, but you never think that you're going to be in the middle of it.
Betsy Williams was riding the train with Jeff Jackson when the collision occurred.
At the time, we were just going through. I was taking the news crew through to see what drivers were, what behavior they had at the railroad crossing.
Like this semi-driver who swerves out of his lane to avoid the crossing barrier. Ironically, Betsy is with Operation Lifesaver, a group that advocates more education about car and railroad collisions.
Operation Lifesaver is a nonprofit program that's dedicated to eliminating fatalities and injuries at highway rail grade crossings and on railroad rights of way.
This crash test footage shows how easily a freight train can demolish a passenger car.
There's a 4,000 to 1 weight ratio between that train and your personal vehicle. It's the same weight ratio as your personal vehicle running over a 12-ounce aluminum can. You run over the can, say in your driveway, and you knew you hit something, but you're not exactly sure what it was.
Often, these deadly collisions occur because drivers have seriously miscalculated their ability to beat the train.
Do not misjudge the speed and distance of a train. There's an optical illusion where large transportation is concerned. If you pull up to a railroad crossing and see a train and it looks like it's moving slowly, its size may fool you.
That warning is echoed by Baton Rouge police officer Don Kelly.
It's not that uncommon to see this occur, even with all of the various signal lights at the railroad crossings. People still just have a tendency to think they can get across those tracks faster than a train can come.
You're 40 times more likely to die in a collision with a train than in a collision with a regular four-wheel vehicle.
Well, the worst possible scenario is fatality, sometimes whole families that have been wiped out, and that is very tragic and very preventable thing to see.
Tragically, these collisions occur at a very alarming rate.
Every 2 hours, either a collision between a train and a vehicle or a train and a pedestrian.
In this case, even after the car slams into the locomotive, the train can't stop.
It takes those trains a long time to stop. They just don't stop on the button, you know.
It takes a fully loaded freight train traveling about 55 miles an hour, a mile and a half, to come to a complete stop. That's 18 football fields.
With every foot the mangled vehicle is propelled forward, the odds of the driver's survival grow slimmer. This looks like an accident no one could possibly live through. But incredibly, the driver suffers only a few cuts and still feels feisty enough to throw a temper tantrum.
He just kind of went into a tantrum, you know. I guess he was still in shock as much as he was angry, you know.
One look at this mutilated sedan shows how easily this story might have had a tragic ending.
The impact, fortunately for him, came on the passenger side. He was headed westbound. Had he been headed eastbound and the impact occurred on the driver's side, he probably would have sustained much more serious injuries or perhaps even been killed.
At the very least, this driver sustained the scare of a lifetime.
He probably felt very terrified. Because first of all, not knowing when the train was going to be able to stop, probably wondering, is this car going to flip over, and would this train be running over the car? So I would imagine he was very, very scared at the time.
Like many other motorists who collide with trains, this man was in a hurry.
The gentleman stated to us that he was running late. In fact, he was running late for a court appearance.
And he told me that he thought that he could make it through the crossing before the train got there. And unfortunately, that wasn't the case.
Since drivers are held legally liable for these accidents, this man will probably have to make many more court appearances.
If there is property damage, which there certainly will be, if there are injuries, which there quite likely will be, you as the driver of that vehicle are going to be the one ultimately responsible for them.
This impatient motorist was lucky to survive, but other daredevil drivers won't be so fortunate.
It's not the best decision to make, to try to beat a train, because even if it's a tie, you lose.